Hey there, Cerise here. Welcome to Story Time. I'm located in the north coast of the Dominican Republic in a small town called Sosua and a little area in Sosua called Los Charamicos. You're going to hear some noise in the background. It is an early afternoon and it's a Saturday, so families are home and children are happy in the background. Alrighty, this story is about three characters: Zane, Tyrone, and Lily. Zane, Tyrone, and Lily. Tyrone is Zane's dad. And Tyrone, well, let's just say he's in his late 40s. And he worked in the military for a very long time, and now he's retired. His wife, Zane's mother, also worked in the military, and she's been retired for about 3 years now. She was injured and she took early retirement, and she started to come around the island here of the Dominican Republic and Brazil and all over South America, and she started to encourage her husband, Tyrone, to do the same thing. Now, he started to really look into retirement as well, but his wasn't early retirement. He was able to take it at that time. And he decided that he was going to travel with his wife. And the more they traveled and the more time they spent together, the more they grew apart. So I'm just going to read the story how it is right now and let you guys get a little bit into the characters that are in this story. This is written from Tyrone's point of view. Well, my wife and I, after traveling the world together, mostly South America, she really liked Panama. I liked Panama, but I didn't really want to move there. My favorite, like a lot of you guys listening to this, is the Dominican Republic. Not only for the women, but for the beautiful landscape, for the economic way of living in paradise. I had the very great opportunity to meet a lot of people, a lot of the vloggers here, and a lot of the people who welcomed me into the different parts of the Dominican Republic. My wife, well, she didn't really like Sosua at all because she considers it a working girls' town, but it's not. I remember listening to Cerise's story the other day on one of her live airs, and she was right when she said Sosua is not X-rated. Now, I must tell you, it does have its little differences, and my wife, she clearly didn't like it as much as I do. So she decided to take off to Brazil for a while and got herself a boyfriend. Yes, she did. Sent me a postcard of their picture. Didn't even have the dignity to contact me first. Just sent me a little postcard. And also a package. How did I get it? My son brought it when he came. Now, my son came down here and he was visiting me all the time. And, you know, he's a grown man now to himself, in the military as well. We named him Zane. And he didn't really take any sides. He understood why his mom stepped out on me. I must admit, she was probably so cold about it because that's really all I did during our relationship was step out on her. All through the military, we were not posted at the same place all the time. So a lot of times I was in one part of the world, she'd be in the other part of the world, and we wouldn't see each other. So it just became common fruit when I was here and she was away somewhere on another island, and she found out a lot of information about who I was cheating with. I wasn't only cheating in the past with women in different ports and places. I would cheat with sometimes her own friends in the military. So yeah, she was hurt about that, and she always shared the information with my son, of course. And after a while, my son started to hate me, and he started to, turn on me. So I was without my son for a while. But at this point, when he came down to visit me in the Dominican Republic, he was a man and he understood. And he could see that his mom took off with a younger man in Brazil. So what's the big deal? When he handed me the package, he said, "Looks like mom had enough. So, you can have your fun now without trying to hide anything." And he laughed, and I looked at the package, and the package was just a few pictures and memories and little things she really didn't need to give me, but she did. And then, of course, the postcard with her and her new man, who appears to be about 30 years younger than her, but good for her because she still looks good and she takes care of herself well. So I wish the best for her on that. But this story's not about her and us and our divorce, which, by the way, was pretty clean. It's no fighting, no brawling. We just outgrew each other. And because we always lived our separate lives, we're good. And because we already went through the whole retirement thing, we had already sold off everything in the States. So it was just a matter of just splitting money and we're good. Now I found a new chica. And yes, she is 26 years old. Gosh, she's a difficult one. But she's younger than my son. And I didn't take that into consideration when I let them spend time together. My son is a younger version of me. And even though she's 26, I know a lot of you fellas listening to this might be like, "Oh, she's 26. She doesn't like you. She doesn't want you. You're all about money." And of course I know I was all about money, but there was a good trade-off because she was all about me when she was all about my money, and I was all about her, and we had a really good time. And that really good time was something that I needed, I deserved. And, it was lasting. It was great until my son came. My son didn't really take any of my relationships down here in the Dominican Republic seriously because, of course, I was always with his mother, and it was always a secret. All these girls were always just working girls for a moment. But this one girl, we were seeing each other for a little while now, on and off. And I say off because that's only when I wasn't in the country. But she was always someone I would look out for and send money to. All the time. My special one. Some of you guys might have one like that. Well, Zane would meet these girls and he would always say, "Dad, they're so young. Dad, they're so young. You're just going through a time in your life." And I don't believe so. I believe there are a lot of us men out there who are not old and, we're in our mid-40s or late 50s or what gives you. And what? We're allowed. We're looking good. We still hit the gym. We still hit the beach. We still have a good time, have our wits about ourselves, still looking young. Why wouldn't we want a younger woman if we can have her and we did all our work in life? And this is our reward. So my son, he just took it for a joke. And this 26-year-old that I was really feeling, really loving, really thinking about moving her in for the long haul and maybe even having another child at my age because she never had one before and she wanted one. And I was in my glory to give her one. I thought at least this time around I can be with the child 24/7. And I'm not old. I'm still young and I can still raise a child past 30 and still be alive and watch it grow. So why wouldn't I say yes? Why wouldn't I say yes to that? I was ready for it. When Zane came, I thought to myself, this would be the perfect opportunity to reconnect with him, show him that he's my son and that I love him and that, we can do those special things in life like go fishing. Because we both like fishing, but we never fished together. He learned through the groups that he used to go through when he was living on the military bases. And I always had the interest since I was young. We both even played chess, but we never played much together. So this was a time for us men to smoke some cigars, drink some Presidentes, have some rum, some cognac, some good stuff, and just sit on the terrace and reminisce about life, or even better, make plans about the future. I couldn't tell him enough about this girl and my plans for her, and also plans for him to have a sibling. He laughed it off and he didn't believe it. He just looked at me like, I was losing it. He said, Dad, if you and this woman work out, all the best to you. But I know you'll be having another woman within the next 15, 20 days. I could understand where he was coming from, because that was my track record. But this one here, I was keeping her a little bit of a secret. Zane didn't know. He didn't really know what was going on with her and my heart and her heart. He had no clue. I know when he met her, he probably thought I was just clowning around again, and I couldn't blame him. The kid really didn't know me. He wasn't raised with me, and anytime he did see me in his adult years, I was always cheating on his mom with some young thing. So let's fast forward a little bit, and let's fast forward to him now being on the whole world situation that it's at. He came here for a trip in March, just before everything closed down. As he was here, he found out that his job was one of the first ones to be laid off. And he would go back there and not be working. His boss was quite honest with him and said, why don't you just stay in the Dominican Republic? We'll let you know when everything's clear and you can come back home. He said, why not? My son loves it just as much as I do. And he had himself a little place here. And he decided to just rent it for a little while longer, stretch it over for a month, and come hang out with his pops, Why not? There was nothing much to do. Gotta be honest with you, with the lockdown, it only gave him enough time to come over here during the day, have a couple of puffs of a cigar, couple of drinks of a Presidente, and gone again. Afterwards, my wife, she started to get scared that he would bring something. She would say, no, I don't want him to come in and out anymore. He could have the virus, and he's coming in and out so freely. Every day he comes, he's at the colmado. He doesn't like the masks. And it was true. But I didn't want my son to feel like my wife was controlling. And I didn't want to tell him that he couldn't come because I didn't know how long this whole lockdown was going to be for. But my gut was telling me it was going to be for a while. So I invited my son to stay with me in my house. I have a 5-bedroom house. I used to have music playing. Just a few months ago, my life was so perfect. Music playing everywhere, singing and dancing, and had a pool. Oh, I still have one, but I don't use it. I'm alone now. That's right. My son, just as the title goes, my son, he took my chica. At first, instead of dragging the story on about how I feel now, let me just tell you how it all went down. So I trusted her like I never trusted anybody before. Sure, she was gold. Her love was golden. One night, the colmado was still open downstairs. The curfew was just about to hit. My son, he was on a conversation. Downstairs was the colmado, the corner store. That's what they call it in the Dominican Republic, colmado. I went downstairs to the colmado, but it was packed. Everyone was trying to get their things at the last minute. So I decided that I was going to go down to the next one, a little farther down. I had about 5 minutes, but I was in an area where I knew the cops weren't going to pick up someone right away, and I knew that I would have at least 10 minutes leeway to walk back home. Not thinking that I was going to be giving them time to be alone. So I get down the street more, go to this corner store. There's a line up there too. I just stayed in that one. And then I went back home. When I got back home, I had that funny feeling. You know that funny feeling? You know that feeling when you know something went down, but you just can't put your finger on it. And I felt insecure and stupid, and I let it ride. Until the next day, when I saw my son and her in the pool together. He picked her up and threw her. And she laughed and she giggled, and they were like two teenagers. And I didn't like it very much because they're around the same age. So I called my son in the house right away. And I said, come on, boy, come on, that's private merchandise right there. I know y'all are near the same age and everything, and you're just having fun. You probably just think she's a chica. No, nobody important to me, just a working girl, but she's not. And my son looked at me and said, but Dad, she's not a working girl. I saw her on the streets the last time I was here. And I couldn't lie. That's where I got her. And I said to him, well, just relax. She's not working now. She's with me all the time. You can see that the whole time you've been here. So just settle down. And he said, well, Dad, she's with you because it's quarantine. She needs you. And I said to him, okay, and that's fine. But let's just get along. I tried to warn him. I tried to make him stay back. And he just took it as a joke. He walked away and he laughed and he said, oh, Dad, you and these women. I don't know if he was angry because I was the first one that cheated on his mom and that caused us to break up, really fragmented our relationship. She never let it go. She was always ragging on my son about it. Your father this, your father that. Your father this, your father that. Oh. And even when I was home and when we did have the little bit of family time that we could have, she was always calling me a tramp. Always, it was awful. She couldn't forgive me, but she couldn't live without me. So I know when I wasn't around her, and my son was, I know she was giving him an earful. And I think this was his revenge. I think this was his time to say, suck it up, Daddy. All those girls that you cheated on Mom with, look what they're worth. And so now, because he's still not back at work, he has my girl. He has my girl. I can't tell you what he does in the military, but I can tell you that he flies. And I can tell you that he'll be one of the first people called back to work, no matter who wins this election. And he'll be called back, and he won't be working, and my girl's gonna contact me because she's gonna miss me. And I'm gonna take her back. I will. I know I will. I know she fell into a trap with my son because he's a younger version of me. And I can't blame her. He's fun. He's loving. Look, let's just face it, he's a younger me. And I know she cares for me. I know she does. And that's why when she comes back, I'm going to take her in a heartbeat. Let him have his little fun with her. Let him enjoy her. I saw them the other day on the boulevard in Puerto Plata. I saw them hanging around some of my friends that I introduced them to. I was more disturbed that my friends had no boundaries. But this is not a place that has boundaries. What are my friends supposed to say? Oh, you took Tyrone's woman. No. They're going to say, oh, you took your dad's chica? That's not good. But how are you doing anyway? And that's just the way it flows. That's just the way it flows. I can't be mad at my brothers for sitting around with my son and my girl. I just kept it moving. I didn't want to cause a stir. But I know in a couple of months from now, I'll be right back on the boulevard with my friends and my girl. I know what my friends are going to say. They're going to tell me that there's too many women here for me to be going back to her after she did me like she did. But my reasoning is this. She did me like she did with my son. And when I am done, they can go and have their fun. Because then I will move on. I will not marry her. Because now I know she did dirty. I will not have a child with her. Because I wouldn't trust to know if it was for me or for my son. I'm not into her like that any longer. But she sure does make me feel good when we're at home in our bed alone. And she sure does make me feel good when she wakes up in the morning and makes my coffee for me just the way I love it. She gets my slippers for me. She makes sure that everything is perfect for me. She turns on the hot water when I need to take my hot jacuzzi bath, and she makes sure that my food's all in front of me. Come on now. And she's a beautiful woman with a hot body and young. Can't pay a maid for that. And I'm not saying she's a maid. All I'm saying is she's my chica. And I found her first. And I'll get her back. And I don't mind sharing. Even if it's with family. All right, guys. Weigh in on this one. Let me know what you think about this one. I'm very curious. Take care of yourself. I love you very much. Huge hugs and big blesses and loads of love. And look forward to the Storytime compilation coming out that you can purchase online. I'll let you all know about it. Take care, everyone. Oh, thank you for subscribing, and thank you so much for listening.